Hi, everyone. We're here for another workshop for the Boss Academy, and we're very grateful to have Luis from Mintbase here to talk about indexers, APIs, and components, and probably some other cool stuff too. We'll see. But we're going to go ahead and just get started by reviewing how to participate in the Boss Academy program and earn builder badges, doing the homeworks, and leveling up your community pages, and then we'll hand it off and Luis will dive in. So your second homework assignment is due next Friday, July 14th, and we're going to continue building our customizable community pages, leveling up and featuring 3 or more APIs, whereas your first homework assignment just had to include 2 APIs. So your options include adding support for contract interactions on Ethereum or Near, or any EVM compatible network, really. Uh, but also, you could use the Fetch API to interact with indexers using on chain data off chain. So you don't have to worry so much about efficiency. So that's what we're going to dive into today a little bit. But just know those are 2 different options you have to level up your community page, in addition to the social API and the state API, along with the others that you will continue learning about over the summer. So get your homework in. We've got a nice, just a quick review of the homework number 1, and each of these brave souls now has the builder badge. So thanks to all the participants who submitted their homework on time. And if you want to do your homework, you can still catch up. You can get a badge for the first homework and the second homework by submitting on DevHub. So just a shout out to these builders, and we can go to the actual dev profile. And if you want to use this profile, which might be integrated with a default profile someday, hopefully soon, but you can see here that our Near Builders account has the builder badge, which is this little symbol by the name. So if you go to somebody else's account that completed the homework, let's use William's account for just an example. We can see William did the homework, so he's got the badge. So just a quick demo. Thanks again for all the hard work, and let's keep it going. We also have mentorship and daily office hours, and we have a program. If you would like to become a mentor, please get involved. You can help others learn, and you could host your own workshops and office hours in person or virtually. And we're doing these daily office hours to make it just a lot more collaborative. And if you have any problems, we do our best to get you around those hurdles or over them, or however you need to keep moving forward. So feel free to join. And we do them on Zoom right now. We might introduce another office hours on Discord, in the Near Discord. But yeah, keep in mind that we're available if you want to schedule a one-on-one, or if you want to do some kind of group session with your team. We're all getting ready for the big hackathon later this summer. And yeah, if you want to find additional support, we have a group on Telegram for off-chain discussions. And of course, you can post on the Boss or use the Dev Hub. And we have the documentation site, which is one of the best ways to get started learning. You can go read more about Boss and all the cool stuff you can build. docs.near.org/boss. And DevHub, I just showed briefly. It's where we're submitting the homeworks, but also where builders are sharing ideas and collaborating on projects, and building the better future that we're all striving to realize that in the Near ecosystem and beyond. So keep in mind, we're all building together, and we're all learning together too. So you can join the Telegram, get involved, and you might even lead your own workshop series or contribute to some tutorials or become a boss in your own right. So without further ado, I will just stop sharing really quick. And Luis, if you want to take it away.
Yeah, I was confused for a second where I had the unmute button. Nice. Yeah, thanks for the introduction. James, feel free to interrupt me anytime if you want to ask any questions, or anyone in the audience, really. So yeah, good morning, good afternoon, good night to everyone who's watching right now and in the future record of this video. My name is Luis. I'm here from Mintbase. I've been leading a lot of the innovation things at Mintbase recently. And I'm really happy to be presenting here because the BOS has become also like something very important for us at Mintbase. And I think like we all are trying to figure this out together, which is pretty cool to see in the near community. But Mintbase has been around since 2018. The main focus, our main focus has always been NFTs. And one of our goals has been to simplify NFTs for everyone in cheap, fast, and easy to understand ways. And I think we've achieved quite of these things already, but still a long way to mass adoption that we all really want to see. So part of our job is also to help people deploy their own marketplaces and host their own marketplaces in independent marketplaces. And I think this presentation will be pretty focused on how you can go and create your own marketplace by learning a bit of indexers, components, and different APIs for the BOS. So, but to start off with this very bold claim, NFTs can represent anything digitally. I think that's true. NFTs have been popularized in 2017 with the first real usage of these tokens by CryptoKitties. But the reality is that they only exploded in popularity like in 2020 or 2021 when everyone was talking about NFTs. And this technology leverages blockchain to prove ownership, scarcity, provenance of digital assets. That's pretty much it, right? But we've seen like several use cases for these tokens, like digital arts. You've seen music, virtual goods. But there are tons of other, use cases out there that haven't been explored yet, or are, people are trying to see how they can be used. And for Mintbase has finished our first cohort last week, our grants program cohort, first one. And we've seen several projects using NFTs in different ways, which was pretty cool to see. And I will just name a few here. I saw Elliot was in the audience. Elliot had also a pretty cool project. Sorry, you're not mentioned here in the presentation, but shout out to Elliot, great builder. So one of the first use cases I want to mention is NameSky. This project allows you to transform your accounts into NFTs and then, just trade them, transfer them. It's pretty cool. Like you can transform, your token contract or whatever really. So, and make this account transferable and all tokens, everything that this account holds. Then we have Explorance, another cool project. They allow anyone to convert virtual items into physical goods using 3D printing, and the assets or the digital assets are the 3D models themselves. And then we have Slick images here. They are allowing media professionals to license their work through NFTs for commercial or personal use. So as you've seen, 3 different projects with 3 different use cases for tokens. But at the, since there are limitless possibilities, I think, and with the rise of NFTs, there's been a corresponding need for platforms, that facilitate these tokens to be searched, bought, sold, traded, and I think this is where NFTs come in, NFT marketplaces come in. And we've seen several marketplaces popping up over the years because they are at the center of all of this. They are the infrastructure at the center of all of this. And these marketplaces, some of them function as a sort of digital bazaar where creators can go in and mint or create their tokens, list them for sale, and let other collectors browse, bid on, several marketplaces that have several different ways to do probably the same thing. You have OpenSea here, you have LooksRare, Mintbase, and Rarible. I think these are quite popular. They all look in a way similar, but they, serve different communities and different purposes. These marketplaces also function as, they have like this social function as well. Like they become the center of communities, NFT communities, to where, again, like creators can go in and create, collectors can go in and collect. And I think it's pretty cool to see that different marketplaces have fostered their own communities. And then, of course, Mintbase. I'm here for Mintbase. I want to show you a little bit of Mintbase and what I think is pretty cool about Mintbase. The first, well, I'm already connected, but the first thing you can see here is that these are my contracts, meaning that are either contracts I'm the owner of or contracts in which I'm a minter on, meaning that I can create something in this contract. And this is pretty important because, as you can see, like I'm participating in a lot of contracts. And this is really the core of what Mintbase does. So it allows people to deploy their own NFT marketplaces that they can control, and they can add people that can mint there, and add a bunch of different settings and things like that. And this, just to show you that this is something I completely own, that it's something that it's under my control. And yeah, so let's take a look at, for example, this one is pretty recent, Midjourney mints. We've been playing around a bit with AI. And these are a few of the experiments we've made. So you can come here, see all the tokens, take a look at the models. Well, of course, Midjourney contracts would have only Midjourney tokens, but you can take a look at the prompts. I've been very vocal about this. If you're minting something here, you should add like the prompt so people can, this is stored on chain, so people can take a look at this, all open in public data. And well, yeah, so we can go here as well, like all the NFTs, take a look at what's for sale. These are recent tokens for sale. Let's say I want to see this one, and see all the information, provenance, the details, where the data is stored. ROI is very important. And I think that's it. This is a marketplace, an example of one. Okay, one question. All right, no question. And well, this is where I think the boss come in, right? With the belief that anyone can not only deploy their contracts, but also on like their front end, control completely what they're building on. The boss kind of solves, the purpose for all this. The boss stands for blockchain operating system. If you're here watching this, they probably already know that. But what this allows, at the surface is people to completely or truly decentralized front ends. So what this means is traditionally dApps would look a bit more like this. You have dApp at the center, you have your source code, all the assets, large assets stored in a centralized web to normal database somewhere. Then you have your indexer database also stored somewhere, running somewhere, and not decentralized. But then, what's really decentralized here would be the blockchain. But the boss is trying to remove all of the centralized pieces and making all of this code, all of this infrastructure running on chain or stored on chain. And you can see that the blockchain not only serves for storing your source code, but now also with the query API that I'll mention in a little bit, you can also like write indexer code on chain, which is pretty cool. I've been playing around that with this week. Shout out to Shot because he gave me the connection to do that. But yeah, also large assets should be stored on IPFS, Arweave, and to truly make this decentralization possible. And then, like, what does this look like? It's not some weird thing, not a weird website. This is pretty normal looking website. But the difference is that all of this code is stored on chain, which for me still like is pretty exciting to think about. I'm sorry for my connection. Somehow the loading is really tough. But so this is the front page or the activity page. And if you hover the develop button here, you'll see, I'm waiting. Okay, you can see view details. And with this, you're able to take a look at all the source code that underlies the beautiful pages you see. So this is the React-esque sort of code with some very specific APIs. For example, state is part of the VM, the near VM API. where you can like update state and change the UI based on whenever state changes. And you can see a lot of styled components here. But then you can see the literal HTML-esque code here. And if I want to fork this, change this, I can do it. It's anyone's free to do that. And I'll actually do that. So let me go here and render preview so I can see what's, what this code is doing. And then if I don't like this section, well, this is kind of slow, but painful to watch. But yeah, if I remove this part and render again, you can see that okay, so you can see that this section was removed, and I can go and publish this and store this code on change, and it will be my own component. It won't be changing the one you'll see on this gateway, not near.org. But if I want to deploy my own gateway, meaning that I can go and on near dash discovery, which is the GitHub repo for the gateway code, which is literally the near.org, what you can see there. You can fork this, host it yourself, and then you can make that component the front page of your gateway. And this applies to everything you see on this page. All right, so another important thing when you're building apps is to consume data from indexers. And what indexers really do is they look at like transactions and see if there's any event emitted. They look at that and they already have some indexing logic and store that in some database, right? So for example, this one here, you see the buy method in this Mintbase contract. And the event here is in a pretty standardized format. And you can see what happened here. So it was an NFT make offer. Our standard Mintbase market, we know well how to deal with this event when we see one and how to store it on our database. But you can go in and like create your own index and consume this event however you want. So just to give you a quick overview of how this looks like, indexer is looking at all of this, so you can see like what's happening in the transaction, you can see the events, and you can see what's where's the database and what's stored in the database. So if it's one NFT mint, it will store this token, contract address, and who's the owner of this one token. Then if it's an NFT burn, it will probably add some record to our token row and say, all right, this token was burned, so we know that we can't really use this token anymore. And if it's another mint, we'll create a new token, token 2 in this case. And then if it sees like an NFT transfer, it will change. You can take a look at like owner A, change token owner B. And this is very simplistically how indexers work. So today, if you want to, get this data, consume this data, the way we index it, you can do it by going here using this URL, graph.mintbase.xyz, either for mainnet or testnet. It works for both networks. But if you want to, before that one, and this is what like consuming data looks like. You write your GraphQL queries. For the ones familiar with GraphQL, you already know how this works. For the ones that aren't, it's pretty simple. You just kind of like explicitly show, I want to get this based on whatever schema the indexer uses or the database uses. And then the response will look very similar to your request. This is what makes GraphQL very interesting to use. And today, and I'm really excited about this thing, you can create your indexers also on the boss. I'm not sure if I can open this one. Yeah, I can do it. Cool. If you take a look, like these are, I think, a few experiments by the developer team. But yeah, you can go here and see view playground. I think this works. This is not the best example. I saw one. I think social post is the best one. So let's say you want to get the social posts indexed from the social.near, which is the the near or the boss contract, the social database, you can index those posts from that contract using query API, and then query the data like this, similar to what I was showing you before. Let's say you want to get posts, you want to see the content and the account ID of, let's say, the last block timestamp is ending. I want to see like the last post on the boss. I'm not sure if this is still running. The indexer is up and running now, but this is definitely like what it indexed. And you can see like this account posted something I cannot read, but this one posted something I can read. Ilya root, one hang up, blah, blah, blah. All right, you understand. Cool. But how do you do this? When you have access, I don't think the access is for everyone at this point, but indexers are generally very simple things. You just write your indexer logic and your database data structure, and this is it. So for the top 10 posts, like you would write something like this for the schema. So create a table post, create a table comments, post likes, blah, 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 and then have the indexing logic where it parses through every single block and will collect this data in your desired format. So in this case, you want to write for the post when you get the block has some context and some information, and you will get the account ID, the content, and all that, and store this on your database. All right, and regarding components, so I've shown you like how to mess around with the activity page or the front page on near.org. But Mintbase made a few components that I think are quite interesting for NFTs. We made the NFT marketplace and the list to the marketplace component, and also the collection selector. I'll try to go through near the NFT marketplace, but yeah, if you want to play around with these, code is open source and you can fork it, mess around with it, and see how it all plays out. So yeah, let's take a look at the NFT marketplace. Is there any question? No questions. So the NFT marketplace looks very simple. You can see tokens for sale, their price, button. Once you click the button, you will see that you can buy it directly from this component. But if we take a look at the code, there are 3 or 4 things I think are worth mentioning. This is generally how you define a few variables for your component. So if I render these are based on some props I already have here. So let's say contracts, I can count from props or context, or like this is the default. But if I change this array into Midjourney and render, you'll see that that's an error. You'll see that only tokens from this contract are shown for sale here. So if I add a new one, asac.near, you'll see that those tokens, like the asac tokens, and I think this is pretty important because then you can go and let's say I do this now, actually create a new component, and I can import this component from Mintbase and embed it into my other component that I'm developing now. So let's say NFT marketplace, and I render this. Okay, you don't see any difference, but the difference is now I can say this is my own market. Pretty cool, right? So you can see this is my own market here. This is the Mintbase widget. And then props, you can set these props like this as well, contracts. And I can add an array and say, no, I want to see only the asac.near. And you can see that this affected the changes on the marketplace. Okay, this is cool. Then, I mentioned before, getting data from the indexer. This is it. Very simple fetch using the fetch API, also available on the near VM. you can literally copy this, change the query here, make this for all the queries you want, and make this fetch the data you want to show. And then I think the other worth mentioning part is the buy method. So when you click buy, this is what it actually do. So what it actually does, it calls a method buy from on this market contract ID, and with these arguments, gas deposit. So it's pretty simple to build apps because of this, right? You don't need to worry about logins and all that, because that's taken away from you by the gateway or where this code is being ran. And then you just need to focus on learning these these APIs to make transactions, fetch data. It's pretty cool. And the coolest part is that there are some people building all of this, so you can go fork and customize. So let's say you want to customize this and change the background color. I won't mess around with Bootstrap, but I'll do it in the React JS style JS format. You can just come here and say background color and change this to yellow, and all of a sudden we have like a yellow background marketplace. And yeah, I think this pretty much covers the whole customizability with the boss. All right, a few questions. What do you think are the best standards for an NFT? Do you think a widget could be an NFT? Well, I think so. Best standards, you mean like for widget, front-end code, or like NEP something? So smart contract, you mean? Can it reference mutable data? That's a good question. Can it reference mutable data? You mean about like dynamic NFTs or changing like metadata? Yeah. That's well, we want to support that. I mean, based, to be honest, we have done the indexer changes for that because we believe that makes sense, but not really accessible yet. But that should be possible. I mean, I don't think. Well, I don't want to go into this whole question right now, but yeah, I think in general, my answer would be yes. We would like to support, but like maybe make some NFT standard changes that you're dealing with some token that might change data, right? You don't want to like be buying something that you like, that it's you like the image or like whatever you can do with it, and all of a sudden someone might be able to affect changes to the metadata. And for that reason, I think yeah, not really sure. How can developers utilize query API from base components? Well, I mean, literally the same. So you see how you fetch data or you make your GraphQL query here. You could just literally add, well, where was that? Can go back a little bit. So if I have to change this to support, well, of course, this indexer is not indexing NFTs, but you can write your own indexer. And if you want to query data or fetch data from this, you would just need to copy this endpoint, change it here, then make changes to the headers. I believe they have 2 headers here where, yeah, you have your assure role. So this could be probably the account you're using to fetch the data from, and then just the content type. And you would write your query like this, something very simple. You would copy this and just add it here. So it's exciting to see query API being developed. All right, so next slide is affiliate direct. Okay, so we started seeing some interest from people to host their own independent marketplaces, creating their own UIs and making all of this by themselves. And this is kind of like what Mintbase really wants. It's like support these projects and these people that want to build like this. But as we see like more independent marketplaces and we want them to be successful, how can we make sure that, or how can they, take some or have a business model, right? Because at the end of the day, like before we launched Affiliate Direct, which is a feature that enables this, developers or these marketplace developers would have to also create their own smart contracts for the marketplace, and that just it is much harder, right? Because then you're talking about like a completely different set of skills other than just playing around with HTML. All of a sudden, someone needs to like write smart contract code or have some audits, which are expensive. So we decided to launch Affiliate Direct, which is affiliate program for NFTs. And this means that anyone can create affiliate links for any NFT listed on a marketplace. This means that it's listed by themselves or by anyone else. And by enabling this sale on your marketplace, you can earn half of the Mintbase market fee. So we take 2.5%, and with Affiliate Direct, 1.25% goes for Mintbase, and the other 1.25% goes to the affiliate. And how does this look like in terms of near transactions? It's literally this. You just add affiliates to your arguments. And I think actually I was showing this, where was that? It might have it here. Oh yeah, we still call it refer ID here, but it would be the same thing. I think it works both ways. So yeah, just adding your affiliate account ID here, and you'd be able to collect half of the marketplace fee. We had a few, examples that participated on a contest we ran earlier this year. One was Tradeport, which is, I think, pretty popular on here. Marketplace aggregator, meaning that they show tokens for sale in several marketplaces. Parav, Funfar, Mintbase, and a few others. And they enabled Affiliate Direct for Mintbase sales. And this way, they were able to collect 1.25% of the sales. And MetaMeech, which is a community member, sorry, this is weird. And MetaMeech, which is a community member that added a marketplace tab on their own blog. And this way, they were able to sell NFTs and also earn fees. All right, and just a quick look again at how the affiliate account could work without you even having to like deploy your marketplace or making changes or anything. You could use directly from Mintbase, and the only thing you would need to change is the affiliate account ID here. So instead of Nate.near, you would add 1 to 3.near or whatever accounts you own, and this would be enough for you to get like the marketplace fee. What else? So just to recap, when you own your market on the Boss, what you have is full control and customization, unstoppable and highly composable application, as you've seen, and an embedded business model with Affiliate Direct. And yeah, I think this is the last section for this presentation. I just want to, if there's any questions out there, or James, if you want to ask something specifically before I dive into.
I wanted to throw in a question before you go into the future of marketplaces, because I'm wondering about the Affiliate Direct campaigns and how you could integrate other ways to earn that other than just sharing a URL. For example, creating a component or some kind of app that involves the props already, so it doesn't have to be in the URL.
Yeah, sure. I mean, similarly to what I've shown before, you could come here. And again, like you could do something like this, host it on your own component, right? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, like if I fork the NFT marketplace, would I be able to? I mean, you could just hard code an account here, right? And then it would be an affiliate widget.
Yep. we have it here in caps, affiliate account, just add whatever here, and that would work.
I'm curious to explore how you might do that in a more dynamic way and involve users, so it's not just the widget creator, the component builder, but also the community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there might be other ways. If you have any creative idea, let me know. I'm all in for yeah, just playing around with different things.
It's really powerful. I just wanted to ask a specific question before you go near and far.
All right. Okay. Then I think the last section is just really thinking about like all of these recent developments and what we've been watching in the tech space. And I think like again, like part of my job is to try to innovate a bit. So with all the ChatGPT stuff, we started thinking use everyday language to interact with the blockchain. Given that we have all the infrastructure kind of ready, like we have indexers running, they're performant, we have the marketplace built, we have pretty much all of these things, and especially with the boss now, it's much easier to disseminate all of these technology. We just wanted to think like a bit further, and given that you can also host your own gateway, and the gateway is built, at least near discovery is built with Next.js. That means that you can also do server-side things, and you can take things to the next level. And we started thinking about like how to use, what if users could just use everyday language to perform like these technical tasks? And of course, at the core of this, there's LLMs. In case of ChatGPT, it's GPT-4 or GPT 3.5, and or ChatGPT even. And these are just machine learning models trained to generate human-like text. They're trained on vast amounts of data, and they learn to predict like the next word in sentences. And this way, they're able to not only generate coherent and contextually relevant responses, but they can be used to communicate with like external services. And for example, this is maybe I can try to do this. Can try to showcase this. This was like one early experiment in May when I got access to. Why is my computer so slow? One of the first experiments I started when I got access to the plugins, and literally I asked, write and compile a non-fungible token contract. This, of course, I gave like very specific instructions on how to use the Near.js SDK to write contracts, give it a few like hints of how a contract would look like. And this is what GPT generated for me. So it's a very simple code, but you can see it's valid. Like I just really asked write and compile a non-fungible token contract. And all of a sudden it started like writing all of the contract logic. And I think you won't be able to clearly see this here, but yeah, it generated some UID that I then had a way to get the ABI. Well, it's a bit cut here, but it generated also, ABI based on the contract. And then with this, you could potentially ask now deploy a widget. And all of this resulted in a very simple UI component. But you can see that it submitted a transaction on the Near social contract that had like hello world in it. But this just to show that this could very possibly become the future of how we create things on the boss. And well, specifically at Mintbase, I've been also playing around a lot with the Mintbase, with these plugins. So we built 2 plugins so far: Mintbase Search, which allows you to ask, give me all the tokens owned by one account, and it will output all of the tokens or some of the tokens owned by this account. And Mintbase Action, which we want to use for submitting transactions on chain and creating these transactions. So you could ask, now send this token to someone, and it would generate using using meta transactions and account abstraction. We're able to do all of this without like, having any security issues or anything, or anyone losing money in a way, except Mintbase. And if you want to play around with this today, I mean, Mintbase Search was published, I think, last or 2 weeks ago. So it's already live if you have the ChatGPT Plus subscription. Action is on the way. We're in talks. We're having conversation with OpenAI right now about this. And then if you want to play around with it as more a developer, there are like LangChain ways to connect your ChatGPT plugins or Vercel SDK. And this, I think, is pretty cool if you're building gateways for Near. This pairs very well with the Next.js project for the Near Discovery Gateway. So potentially this is something coming our way. And maybe I have some time to just give a quick demo. And I see a question here. Right, Elliot. Nice. So yeah, let me create a new chat. And yeah. So when I do what's my account name, I always start like this because it's cool, it will use one of our plugins to get our account information. And this, so essentially with account abstraction, we are able to generate implicit accounts for every ChatGPT session. And yeah, you'll see. So I want to ask, am I a minter on any contract? And as you can see, it used Mintbase action here, and now it's using Mintbase search. So we covered briefly GraphQL queries, and you can see that ChatGPT is able to generate valid GraphQL queries. So eventually, like, you won't even need to play around with GraphQL. It will just directly ask what you want, and the GraphQL query will be built for you. But as you can see, I am a minter in one contract. And now I also plugged in this other plugin, which is called image search. And I'll just use it for demo purposes, but I want to get an image of abstract art and mint it as a token on my contract. So as you can see, it figured out to use Mintbase, image search. And now it's using Mintbase action to generate a valid transaction object. So you can see the method name, the arguments, a bunch of metadata here. Yeah, how many tokens I want? 1, no royalties, no split owners, gas deposit, signer, contract address, everything. And cool. This will take a little bit. It will generate, it will write all the URL it generated. This was a request by OpenAI. We cannot really submit transactions on user's behalf. That's something they asked us not to do. So we had to change this to generate a link that users have to click and go through. But still, the user experience is much better than having to figure out wallets first. And if you just want to play around with the technology, you don't need to do all that. So we believe that this is a very good way to onboard users in the future. Except that it takes 30 seconds to generate this URL. All right, cool. So you can see, click here to consent to the transaction and mint the token. I'll have to do it. It goes to this website. Very simple, minimalistic. I can just see again what's the transaction about, the meta transaction. Again, I have 0 money on the implicit account it generated. This is literally delegating the transaction to Mintbase's layer. So we're covering all the costs. This is testnet, so it's cheap. It's free, actually. So transaction successful. Please close this page. Okay, cool. And now let me ask, what's my latest, or what's the latest token I've minted? And hopefully it will show the token I just minted. Sometimes ChatGPT hallucinates a bit and gives weird responses, but generally this works. All right, I think it generated, yeah, random store. This is the token. The title was randomly generated based on the abstract art prompt I use here. And hopefully we'll show an image. Yeah, cool. So you can see this is the token minted just, this is my time. Looks correct. And now I can go on testnet mintbase.xyz. With the shortcut. Contract. Random contract. And I want token 3. All right, as you can see, it's still loading, but the metadata is here. And it was just minted by this account 2 minutes ago. That looks correct. And going back to the chat. Yep, same thing. I think this was my last slide, but I can compare. Oh yeah, Q&A. So yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of questions that were already answered, but if, I mean, Elliot, James, if you have any questions.
Hold on, I'm just, picking my jaw up off the floor because that's amazing.
Nice. Yeah, I'm also very impressed with the little amount of work that, we're able to generate all this, but yeah, definitely like we will want to use this more in the future. And again, like, as I mentioned, the gateways are ready, like near gateways, and especially this Vercel SDK. I cannot mention this more. I don't earn a commission for talking about Vercel, but Vercel is a very good product. And they recently launched SDK, the SDK for AI. So you can play around with prompts, several models here. You can do like, I don't know, it's a new world for me as well. And when we, oh my God, this Zoom thing, when you go on near discovery and you see that this is also Next.js, it feels like they were both made to be connected. So yeah, I'm very excited for all this. And I think that's it. Thank you very much for coming to this presentation. Hope to see more boss builders coming out of this academy. And yeah, any questions, hit me up. I'm Microchip GNU on Twitter and everywhere else, and Mintbase, of course.
Well, thanks again, Luis. We really appreciate it, and keep on building and making the world a better place. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you.